Hello lovely people out there, this is your Star Guide Nikita and welcome to Nikki's Star Guide YouTube channel. If you are new to the channel then please consider subscribing and hit the bell icon so that you will never miss out on any updates by Nikki's Star Guide. So in today's video we are going to talk about one of the most significant event taking place this year, that is the transit of Jupiter in the sign of Aquarius, which is taking place on 6th of April 2021, and Jupiter is going to be in the sign of Aquarius till 14th of September 2021. Now during this time Jupiter will go retrograde in the sign of Aquarius on I believe 20th of June 2021, and it will be retrograde in the sign of Aquarius till 14th of September 2021. And after that it will again go back in the sign of Capricorn while being retrograde, and the retrogression period of Jupiter will get over in the sign of Capricorn on 18th of October 2021. And again on 21st of November 2021, Jupiter will finally enter the sign of Aquarius again, and it will stay there till April 2022. So this is a major transit, as we all know, because last year Jupiter was debilitated in the sign of Capricorn. And what happened during that time? Let's first try to understand it quickly, and then we will move on to understanding the effects of the upcoming transit of Jupiter in the sign of Aquarius. And Jupiter will enter in the sign of Aquarius. If you have any planets placed in Aries signs, that is Gemini, Libra and Aquarius, then you can consider that this transit of Jupiter can be a fruitful one. Of course, depending upon the rulership of Jupiter and the other planets placed in other air signs, but in general those areas of life will see an expansion. So now when Jupiter will enter the sign of Aquarius, which is the original 11th house of the Kalpurush Kundali, we can expect rise in intellectual stimulation or research, scientific inventions. Financial sector will see a new rise during this time, because don't forget that 11th house shows our routine gains, incomes, fulfillment of our desires, and Jupiter being the Karaka of the 11th house, so people will be benefited by this transit in some or other way. Also during this time Jupiter will be transiting 3 places away from its Mool Trikon sign of Sagittarius, and it will be transiting 12 places away from its sign of Pisces. So what does it mean? So during this time we can see that people will be busy. So during this time we can see that people will get indulged in putting their best effort in fulfilling their desires. People will be working towards in sync with their belief system, and there will be rise in new inventions and innovations. Also, the being 12 places away from the sign of Pisces, it shows that we shouldn't forget the importance of seclusion and spirituality during this time. Even when we have the support of latest technology and inventions and science, we shouldn't forget that spirituality is also a science, because it is based on our belief system, right? So one must not ignore the importance of good sleep, seclusion, spirituality, meditation, and being imaginative and creative and trusting your own inner guidance. So that is how we can analyze this transit effect. And now if I have to talk about how to analyze this transit as per your own individual horoscope, then see, there is always this question that how one should analyze the effects of this transit. So I will try to simplify it in few words. So always take a look at the transit from both the moon sign and the ascendant sign, that is the Lagna sign. So check in your horoscope the house where the Aquarius sign falls, both from the moon and the ascendant, and don't forget to look at the houses ruled by Jupiter in your horoscope. So one more important thing here I would like to mention is that the ruler of the sign of Aquarius, that is Saturn, is transiting 12 places away from this Jupiter in Aquarius. So always remember that a planet will give its results depending upon its position, but of course we cannot forget that the lord of the house where a planet is transiting will still rule significant amount of results of this transiting Jupiter. So this Jupiter in Aquarius is lorded by Saturn, which is transiting 12 places away from its Mool Trikon sign, which will make us work hard towards fulfilling our desires. Nothing will come easy, and we can see the best possible results only after Jupiter will complete its retrogradation in the sign of Aquarius, which is after the November 2021. So till then it is going to be a somewhat trial and error kind of period where we know where we want to reach, but Saturn will not make us reach there so easily. So keep working towards your higher goals, set bigger goals, be ambitious, be driven, be passionate about them, and start taking baby steps so that Saturn, the Karma Karaka, will boost this Jupiter, which is all about expansion and optimism. Okay, so that's how we can analyze this transit. And if you have Jupiter placed in the sign of Aquarius or Leo, then this transit can be extremely significant for you. If you have a stellium of planets in the sign of Aquarius, Leo, or any air sign, then this transit will be significant for you. Also, if you are going through the dashas of Jupiter, Saturn, then also this transit can impact you majorly. So judge accordingly, analyze accordingly, and don't forget to see the rulership of this transiting Jupiter in your horoscope, because the results will get manifested in the area of life signified by the house where the sign of Aquarius falls in your chart, through the rulership of houses of Jupiter. So suppose it's an Aries ascendant, let's take an example. So for Aries ascendant, Jupiter rules the 9th and 12th house of horoscope, and now it will be transiting through the 11th house. So the significations of the 12th house and 9th house will now get manifested through the 11th house significance, and that's how you can analyze this transit. Okay, so without any further ado, let's analyze its effects on each zodiac sign. For the Taurus Ascendant and Moon sign natives, Jupiter rules the 8th house and the 11th house of your horoscope, and it will now be transiting through the 10th house of your horoscope. The 10th house stands for our public image into the society. It represents the karma that we perform on day-to-day basis as a part of our career. So, when the planet of expansion is entering the house of career or the karma that we perform, it is surely going to bring major changes at the workplace for the Taurus natives. Now, these changes can either be in the form of relocation for the work purpose, or some of the Taurus natives might even change their careers completely during this time. One of the significant things that is taking place here is the Lord of the Gains, Jupiter, will now be transiting 12 places away in the 10th house, whereas the 10th Lord Saturn, the Karmadhipati, will be transiting 12 places away in the 9th house. Now, what does it shows is that if Taurus natives want to gain something greater and bigger, then they should be ready to face some adverse situations or some uncomfortable situations and scenarios at the place of work or in their career. There might not be complete satisfaction about their work profile or income, but they should accept the situation as it is and they should put their best efforts in attaining what they want during this time. Jupiter, being the 8th Lord coming to the 10th house, will be a good time for those in the research field or scientific research, PhD, occult field, those who are working in large organizations, and those who are in entrepreneurship. Taurus natives can also come in contact with influential people during this time, and the connections made during this time will be helpful in near future when it comes to getting benefited at a greater level in career. From the 10th house, Jupiter will aspect the 2nd, 4th and the 6th house of your horoscope. It shows that Taurus natives should be mindful of what they are eating during this time. There can be advancement in the home that they live in, or if the Taurus natives are looking to buy a property and if the dashas and the natal planetary positions are supporting, then Taurus natives can buy a property during this time. They might even get a loan to buy a new property or home during this time. Apart from this, the Taurus natives must follow a good healthy lifestyle routine on day-to-day basis in order to remain healthy during this time. For more personalized and accurate results, do look out for the planets in trine to this transiting Jupiter. If you have any planets placed in the sign of Gemini, Leo, Libra or Aquarius, then the areas of life and the things signified by those planets as per their rulership in your horoscope will see an expansion during this time. So this was the analysis of Jupiter's transit in Aquarius for the Taurus Ascendant and Moon sign natives. For the Gemini Ascendant and Moon sign natives, Jupiter rules the 7th house and the 10th house of your horoscope, and it will now be transiting through the 9th house of your horoscope. The 9th house signifies our philosophy, higher education, wisdom, knowledge, morals, principles, law, religion, and father. So when the Karaka of the 9th house itself will transit through the 9th house, it's going to give one of the greatest blessings of the lifetime. So the wait is over for the Gemini natives. You have done the hard work. You have been through tough times. You have been through the self-reflection process. And now it's time to reap the rewards. Now is the time to spread your wings again. During this time, there can be major changes at the work front for the Gemini natives. They might even travel to long distance place regarding the career, business expansion, long distance travel for the spiritual journeys, or many of the Gemini natives might even get married at a distant place during this time. Now, one of the significant thing to notice during this time is that the 10th house lord will be transiting 12 places away in the 9th house, whereas the lord of the luck, that is the 9th house lord Saturn, will be transiting 12 places away in the 8th house. So during this time, Gemini natives might not have the complete support of their luck. But Saturn wants you to be righteous in your speech and being true to your value system during this time. The more mindful you are about the way you are leading the life, the better results you will be able to reap from this transit of Jupiter. From the 9th house, Jupiter will aspect your Lagna, the 3rd house and the 5th house. You will feel more confident, wise, and mainly cheerful during this time. As Jupiter is transiting through the 9th house, which is all about preaching, teaching, and sharing your gifts with the world, and it is aspecting the 3rd house of your courage and creativity, there will be rise in the things like sharing your knowledge, wisdom, or your gifts with the world out there. Those who are looking to get a PhD or masters, or if you want to initiate any spiritual practice, then this is a great time to even find a guru during this time. For more personalized and accurate results, do look out for the planets placed in trine to this transiting Jupiter in your natal horoscope. If you have any planets placed in the sign of Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, or Leo sign, then the area of life and the significations of those planets and houses, depending upon the rulership of them, will see an expansion during this time. So this is how one can analyze the effects of the transit of Jupiter in the sign of Aquarius for the Gemini ascendant and moon sign natives. For Cancer ascendant and moon sign natives, Jupiter rules the 6th house of daily routine and 9th house of higher teachings. And it will now be transiting through the 8th house of sudden events, transformation, occult field, research, and inheritance. When the planet of expansion will enter the 8th house of transformation, it will surely bring some transformation in your work routine and higher wisdom. During this time, it is the time for Cancer natives to heal from the old life patterns and plant new seeds for a better future. Your interest in occult, spiritual literature, humanitarian activities, scientific thinking, and research will enhance. You will form new friendships during this time, which will bring transformation in your life and the way you see life. When Jupiter was in Capricorn, you were having lots of public dealings and responsibilities on your shoulders at the place of work. When Jupiter will enter the 8th house, there can be additional back-end duties on your shoulders at the place of work. Now is the time to heal and rejuvenate in life for the Cancer ascendant and moon sign natives. Health needs to be taken care of. This is the time to learn and unlearn patterns in your life. This is the time to pay attention to the unnoticed events, patterns, and habits in your personality and life. What needs to be corrected? From the 8th house, Jupiter will aspect the 12th house, 2nd house, and the 4th house of your horoscope. Those who are looking for PhD or masters, or those who are doing a research for their higher studies, it's a great time. You might even travel to long distance place regarding your higher education or to meet a guru. You will learn from foreigners. You will make contacts with people of different cultural backgrounds and it will enhance your knowledge. There is a chance of buying property. Great time to resolve any property related issues in the family. Learn a new skill or knowledge during this time and it will prove to be helpful for the betterment of your life and personality. One of the significant thing about this transit is the Lord of the higher teachings, that is Jupiter, is going 12 places away in the house of transformation and research, whereas the Lord of the house of transformation and research is now coming into the 7th house, that is Saturn in Capricorn. So you will notice that during this time you will be asked to do constant research and upgrade your knowledge in some or other way, either at the place of work or in your day-to-day life. There can be major changes in the relationship factor of your life, especially if you are married or looking to get married. For more personalized and accurate results, do look out for the planets placed in your natal horoscope who are trine to this transiting Jupiter. If you have planets in the sign of Gemini, Leo, Libra, Aquarius, then look out for the significations and areas of life signified by them depending upon the rulership in your horoscope. The areas of life will come to fruition and we'll see an expansion because of the impact of this Jupiter. So that's how we can analyze the effect of this transit for Cancer Ascendant and Moon sign natives. For the Leo Ascendant and Moon sign natives, Jupiter rules the 5th house of education, creativity, talents, Purva Punya, and the 8th house of sudden events, transformation, research, occult, and it will now be transiting through the 7th house of public dealings, dealing with masses, business partnerships, and the bond of marriage. When the planet of expansion will enter the 7th house, it will surely bring expansion in your vision, mission, and in your overall life. When Jupiter was transiting along with Saturn in your 6th house in the sign of Capricorn, you were mainly focused on your health, daily routine, the job that you do, and your finances. Whereas when Jupiter will enter the 7th house, it's time to reap the rewards for your hard work. Your equation with the education, utilizing your education and transforming your vision will now come into the picture. Those who are planning to start a business in their creative endeavors, it's a great time. Those who are looking to tie a knot with their romantic partners, they will see a good time ahead. One of the significant things to notice during this transit is that the Lord of the House of Transformation and Research is now coming 12 places away from itself in the 7th house, whereas the Lord of the 7th house of public dealings, marital bond, business partnerships, is now coming 12 places away from itself, that is Saturn in the sign of Capricorn in the 6th house, being the 6th Lord itself. It shows that any business partnership or the bond of marriage formed during this time will demand a sense of service, devotion, and friendly approach. Your commitment, dedication, and patience will get tested during this time. From the 7th house, Jupiter will aspect the 11th, 1st, and the 3rd house of your horoscope. There will be moments of celebration and gatherings in your life. You will make new connections in business partnership, and the relationship with siblings and yourself and your elder siblings will get enhanced during this time. For more personalized and accurate results, look out for planets placed in trine to this transiting Jupiter in your natal horoscope. That is, if you have any planets in the sign of Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, or Leo, then the areas of life represented by them, depending upon their rulership, that is lordship in your horoscope, will now see an expansion during this time. So this is how we can analyze the effect of this transit for the Leo Ascendant and Moon sign natives. For Virgo Ascendant and Moon sign natives, Jupiter rules the 4th house of mother, homeland, peace of mind, and the family life, and the 7th house of business partnerships, dealings with masses, and the bond of marriage. And it will now be transiting through the sixth house of routine life, disputes, diseases, and conflicts. It surely shows that there will be an expansion and new activities will get included in your day-to-day life. If you are looking to get a loan to buy a new house, then it can get sanctioned during this time. Just make sure that you are taking your partner's viewpoint into consideration before making any big decision. You will be asked to put your best effort in your bond of marriage, business partnerships, and to maintain your peace of mind. For those who are already married, make sure that the lack of romance and increased responsibilities will not affect your relationship in a bad manner. And for those who are willing to get married during this time, you might find the suitable alliance who is working in similar field like yours, or someone who is living at a long distant place than yours. If you are planning to start a fitness routine, then this is the perfect time to get indulged in yoga, spirituality, meditation, or some kind of fitness routine that will keep you healthy and fit. There can be some additional expenses on health matters of one of your family members or yourself, or there can be a foreign travel also. It's extremely important to maintain harmony with your fellow colleagues during this time in order to have a smooth career during this time. One of the significant things to notice about this transit is that the Lord of the House of Business Partnerships and Marriage is now going 12 places away in the 6th house, whereas the Lord of the 6th house of daily routine is now going 12 places away in the 5th house, that is Saturn in Capricorn. Now what does it mean is that the more you handle your day-to-day activities and relationships with diplomacy, friendly approach and creativity, the better your life will be during this time. There are chances of finding a good job during this time or getting a raise in your current job. For more accurate and personalized results, look out for planets placed in trine to this transiting Jupiter in your natal horoscope. That is, if you have any planets placed in the sign of Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, or Leo, then look out for the significance or the areas of life represented by them depending on their lordship in your horoscope. And the areas of life signified by them will now come to fruition and will see an expansion during this time. So this is how we can analyze the result of this transit of Jupiter in the sign of Aquarius for the Virgo Ascendant and Moon sign natives. For Libra Ascendant and Moon sign natives, Jupiter rules the 3rd house of courage, hobbies, short distance travels, younger siblings, and the 6th house of service. What do we do as a part of daily routine? And it will now be transiting through the 5th house of creativity, Purva Punya, childbirth, and education. So when the planet of expansion will enter the 5th house, and the Jupiter being the Karaka of the 5th house itself, will surely bring expansion in your knowledge, wisdom, and overall understanding, resulting in making you a mature person. People will appreciate your wisdom during this time. When Jupiter was transiting through the 4th house along with Saturn being the 4th lord in the sign of Capricorn, it made you stay focused on your household matters, familial life. Whereas when Jupiter will enter the 5th house of creativity, being the 3rd lord, this is the time to be more creative and experimentative. You will get connected with your innermost nature and core values during this time. Good time to get a job in any large organization. If you are looking for a childbirth, or those who are looking to get into a romantic relationship, this is the perfect time. If you are in any kind of creative endeavor or in knowledge-based industry, then this is the time when you can monetize your skills and start your own business. Be mindful while investing in stock market and speculation. One of the significant things to notice about this transit is that the Lord of the House of Routine Life, Service, is now coming 12 places away into the 5th house, and the Lord of the 5th house of Creativity, Children, and Purva Punya is now coming into the house of Home Life, that is the Saturn and Capricorn in your 4th house. Now what does that shows is that there will be additional responsibilities regarding your children or education. You might have to take up the responsibility of your child's future and education more than ever before during this time. There will be additional responsibilities at home during this time, because of which you will remain completely occupied because of these things. If you are looking forward to sharing your knowledge, wisdom, or any creative art with the world, then this is a perfect time. You can share your talents with the world through various means, such as writing a book or conducting seminars, or you yourself attending some seminars which will enhance your wisdom and knowledge. For more personalized and accurate analysis, do look out for the planets placed trine to this transiting Jupiter in your natal horoscope. That is, if you have any planets placed in the sign of Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, or Leo, then the areas of life signified by those planets, depending upon the lordship of them in your horoscope, will now see an expansion during this time. So this is how we can analyze the results of this transit for the Libra Ascendant and Moon sign natives. For Scorpio Ascendant and Moon sign natives, Jupiter rules the 2nd house of speech pattern, food eating habits, value system, and family life, and the 5th house of education, creativity, romance, children, and Purva Punya, and it will now be transiting through the 4th house of homeland, mother, peace of mind. So when the planet of expansion will enter the 4th house, it will surely bring some expansion in your homeland, or any significant event related to mother can take place. You might have to travel to a faraway place regarding your career, education, or property related matters. It is a good time to accumulate wealth either in the form of knowledge or monetary gains. There will be expenditure on travel or career related matters or any type of sudden events related to house, and there are high chances of investing in some kind of online or offline courses during this time. You will get more creative during this time. One of the significant things to notice about this transit is that the Lord of the House of Creativity and Education, that is the 5th Lord, is now going 12 places away in the 4th house of home life, whereas the house of the home life and mother, peace of mind, that is Saturn, is now going 12 places away in the 3rd house of courage, self-efforts, and hobbies. Now what does that shows is that you will get really busy in expanding your horizon in terms of enhancing your skills, creativity, education. You will get more creative within your own home during this time. There can be expenditure on enhancing your house. Your siblings can also travel to foreign land during this time, or you yourself can travel to a foreign land for the educational purpose. For more personalized and accurate results, do look out for the planets placed in trine to this transiting Jupiter in your natal horoscope. That is, if you have planets in the sign of Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, or Leo, then look out for the significations of those houses depending upon the rulership of those planets in your natal horoscope, and you will see an expansion in the areas of life represented by them during this time. So this is how you can analyze the effects of this transit of Jupiter in the sign of Aquarius for the natives of Scorpio ascendant and moon sign. For Sagittarius ascendant and moon sign natives, Jupiter being your ascendant lord and the fourth house lord of house, homeland, mother, peace of mind, and it will now be transiting through the third house of self-efforts, courage, creative self-expression, and short-distance journeys. Jupiter being the Karaka of expansion, it will surely make you travel a lot during this time. You will take up a lot of short-distance journeys for various pilgrimages. You will become extremely preachy during this time. You will be social, you will expand your horizon and your network circle. At the same time, people will appreciate your talents and skills. You will get lots of opportunities to present your skills in front of people. For those who are looking to get married or start their own creative business, it's a great time to do so. If you are into any kind of social media related work or creativity, marketing, teaching, writing, blogging related work, then this year can be a great one for you. Your work will bring you a lot of popularity. Sagittarius natives will be mostly on the go during this year regarding either their career or they will take up a lot of short distance journeys with their childhood friends or people from their network circle. From the third house, Jupiter will aspect the 7th, 9th and the 11th house. There can be a change of residence for many of the Sagittarius natives. Enrolling in a master's program or getting involved in a large group's network circle is also possible during this time. One of the significant things about this transit is that the Lord of the 4th house, which represents our peace of mind, is now going to be transiting 12 places away. That is Jupiter in the sign of Aquarius in the 3rd house, whereas the Lord of the 3rd house of courage, self-efforts, planet Saturn is going to be transiting 12 places away in the 2nd house, being the 2nd Lord. It definitely shows that this year Sagittarius natives will find their peace of mind in travel or getting involved in some kind of creative endeavor. It's a great time to enhance your relationship with your siblings. At the same time, I would suggest Sagittarius natives to be mindful of their expenditure because Saturn being the 2nd Lord in the 2nd house might make it hard for you to accumulate or save money. Yes, there will be an increase in your gains, but the expenditure will be high, and so you have to be mindful of saving up some money from your routine gains for the betterment of your future. For more personalized and accurate results, do look out for planets placed in trine to this transiting Jupiter. That is, if in your chart you have any planets placed in the sign of Gemini, Libra, Aquarius or Leo, then area of life or things signified by those planets depending upon their rulership in your horoscope will see an expansion during this time. So this is how we can analyze the effects of this transit for the Sagittarius ascendant and moon sign natives. For Capricorn ascendant and moon sign natives, Jupiter rules the 12th house of spirituality, imagination, foreign land, and the 3rd house of creative self-expression, courage, skills, short distance journeys, and it will now be transit through the 2nd house of family, accumulated wealth, values, food, and family. So when the planet of expansion will enter the 2nd house, and Jupiter being the Karaka of the 2nd house, it will surely help you accumulate more wealth during this time. Your speech will become more philosophical and full of wisdom during this time. You will be inclined to share what you already know and feel with your family and dear ones. There can be a major event taking place regarding your younger sibling. During this year, Capricorn natives would be more inclined to celebrate the small and big victories with their near and dear ones more often. You are trying your best to bring betterment in your day-to-day life and your career for the betterment of your future. You might travel to a foreign land with your family or with people from your network circle regarding your career, business, or there can be some expenses on long distance travel due to your career or some sudden event taking place in your family. One of the significant things to notice about this transit is that the Lord of the third house of courage and self-efforts is now going to be transiting 12 places away, that is Jupiter in Aquarius in your second house, whereas the Lord of the second house of speech, accumulated wealth, and what do we value in life will now be transiting through the first house, being your Ascendant Lord itself. Now what does that mean? Is that the more you remain patient and stable in your approach, and the more mindful you are about what you value in life, and the more in sync you are with these two things, the better the chances are of success for the Capricorn natives during this year. With Saturn being your Lagna Lord in the first house itself, Saturn is teaching you to be more patient with yourself and others and perform your duty in a righteous manner. You have become more disciplined over the year. Jupiter from the second house will aspect the 6th, 8th and the 10th house of your horoscope. There is a need to take care of your health during this time, otherwise there can be some expenses regarding your health. Avoid getting into any kind of argument regarding property or inheritance related matters. Strike a fine balance in your day-to-day routine life and don't do anything in an excessive manner during this time. There will be an increase in your gains during this time and you will find a way to do some kind of betterment in your career. For more accurate and personalized results, do look out for the planets placed in your natal chart. Those are in trine to this transiting Jupiter. That is, if you have any planets placed in the sign of Gemini, Libra, Aquarius or Leo, then the area of life and the things represented by those planets depending upon their lordship of your horoscope, these areas will see an expansion during this time. So this is how you can analyze the effect of this transit for the Capricorn natives. For Aquarius ascendant and moon sign natives, Jupiter rules the 11th house of fulfillment of desires, large organizations, gatherings, routine gains and inventions, and the second house of food, family, speech, accumulated wealth. And it will now be transiting through the first house that represents your life path. So the whole life path is about to get shifted for the betterment of Aquarius natives. You were facing some challenging situations till now with your Ascendant Lord Saturn being transiting through the 12th house. Now with Jupiter coming to the Ascendant, you will no longer feel as if my efforts are going into vain. Gains are about to get increased. Things will slowly start making sense. And Jupiter transiting through your Lagna will make you realize the importance of the events that were taking place in your life for the last whole year. The stronger and deeper your relationship is with your core values, principles, and what type of desires you wish to get fulfilled during this time, the better the results of this Jupiter's transit will be for you. One of the significant things about this transit is that the ruler of the second house of values and speech is now coming to your Lagna, that is the first house, and it will transit 12 places away from its own house. Whereas the ruler of your personality and ascendant, Saturn, is transiting 12 places away in the 12th house of loss. So what does it mean is that during this time, make sure that you are not compromising on what you value and you are staying true with your vision and mission during this time. Don't aim for immediate results and gains. Rather, be mindful of what you want to manifest in a long run. This will help you in retaining your personal image, and you will please your personality lord, that is Saturn. From the first house, Jupiter will aspect the 5th, 7th and the 11th house of your horoscope. There will be raise in your salary position at the place of work. There will be an expansion in your business. Those who are looking to get married or those who are looking for a childbirth will see a good time ahead. Be more compassionate during this time and leave old resentment. Don't forget to take blessings of your elders in the family. It's a great time to get involved in some kind of humanitarian activities, groups, or you can do charity by yourself. For more accurate and personalized results, do look out for the planets in trine to this transiting Jupiter in your natal horoscope. That is, if you have any planets in the sign of Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, or Leo, then the area of life or the things signified by those planets, depending upon their lordship in your horoscope, will see an expansion during this time. So this is how we can analyze the effects of this transit for Aquarius Ascendant and Moon sign natives. For Pisces Ascendant and Moon sign natives, Jupiter being the ruler of your Ascendant, that is your personality and life path, and the 10th house of your career, public image, will now be transiting through the 12th house of losses, foreign land, spirituality, seclusion, imagination. Pisces natives may get relocated to a foreign place during this time. Regarding their career, there can be a loss of energy and you will become more charitable. Hence, define the boundaries well for yourself while doing any task. If you are into the career fields such as healing, occult, information technology, hospitals, spirituality, research, NGO, creative writing, then this is going to be a great time to bring out the best possible work of your life. With the Ascendant Lord going 12 places away from its own sign, you might feel the need to be isolated and you might feel disinterested in doing the things that once were giving you joy. Hence, take it easy. Do proper exercise and meditation on day-to-day basis. Be out there in the sunlight. Avoid too much of seclusion during this time and enjoy the process. There can be changes in the place of your work or the profile of your work. Don't get panicked by the sudden changes or events taking place in your life. One of the significant thing about this transit is that the ruler of your Ascendant and personality, that is Jupiter, will now be transiting 12 places away from its own sign, whereas the Lord of the 12th house of losses and expenditure, spirituality, foreign land, Saturn, is transiting 12 places away in the 11th house, being the 11th Lord. It definitely shows that you might feel like there is a lack of direction, life path in your life, or you might feel as if you are suffering from loss of identity during this time. Expenditure will be high and you might feel as if it's difficult to save money during this time. One of the greatest remedy for such type of placement is that you must do some kind of charity work during this time. Help the needy ones. Take blessings of your elder siblings and your mother. Jupiter from the 12th house will aspect the 4th, 6th and the 8th house of your horoscope. Pisces natives must watch out for their health. There can be some sudden plans that might cause high expenditure or the health issues might cause the same. So boost your immunity during this time. I would recommend the Pisces natives to go for a spiritual retreat during this time, or take up a long distance travel just to feel more calm and composed during this time. For more accurate and personalized results, do look out for the planets in trine with this transiting Jupiter in your natal horoscope. That is, if you have any planets placed in the sign of Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, or Leo, then the area of life and the things represented by those planets, depending upon their lordship in your horoscope, will see expansion during this time. So this is how we can analyze the effect of this transit for Pisces natives.